Saturday morning. It's time for the Cummins Real Estate Group show. Of course, myself, Curtis Pope, and the star of the show, local rock star realtor Michelle Cummins, who's coming to us from Quebec City. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Chris. You know, I love where we live, of course, the great Fraser Valley, British Columbia, but I am really enthralled with Quebec City. It is absolutely amazing. It's my first time here, and I kind of don't want to leave. I don't want to leave.
Well, you know, I have heard that Quebec City is absolutely beautiful, a lot of great architecture, a lot of great food, and a lot of great people, so you're in a good spot.
It's true. Everyone has been so nice, and you'll be proud of me. I have not tried to speak French, so I haven't made a fool of myself.
Well, that's good because I know I can tease you because you are American by birth. I speak French like an American, and I suspect you probably do too.
Okay, can you say hello, how are you?
Oh, you know, all I remember from French in school is fermez la bouche and fermez la porte, which means shut your mouth and shut the door because I sat at the back of the class by the door.
Of course. I only learned Spanish, you know, growing up in Orange County, California, so I didn't get the I love the language, though. French is so gorgeous. On the flight here, the stewardess, like, saying all the rules in French. It was so beautiful.
It's very cool.
I love it. And they're so nice here. Everyone's been great. But without further ado, you know, I'm very excited because here I've been at the RE/MAX conference, the Great Canadian Conference, and we haven't had it in years because of COVID. So excited to be back and meeting all of my colleagues and networking my listings with them and really growing my relationships. And there's three beautiful realtors we have with us today that we are going to interview. And I know I did a teaser, you know, last show we did about that. And we chose three of the top places to invest in Canada for 2023, and the three top realtors in their areas that know their area, that help their clients invest in the right properties. And I'm so excited that they're with us today. So we have our first guest is from Laval, Quebec. Yes, that is one of the areas in the list for 2023. We have Catherine on the line. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you today? And thank you for joining us.
Awesome. I'm really excited to be on your show.
Thank you for coming. Okay, tell us all about your city. I've never been there myself.
So I've lived in Laval since 1980. It is a beautiful city. I've seen the growth and the change over the years. And I have to say Laval is the third largest city in Quebec, and it's the largest suburb of Montreal.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So Laval continues to be an affordable city for Montrealers with a 15-minute drive over the 5 bridges or 2 highways. I originally lived in Montreal, and we moved to Laval in 1980 because it was affordable. So the city has important transportation infrastructure with, like I said, 4 highways, metro stations, and the population of Laval is over 438 residents, which has increased by 3.6% over the last 5 years.
What do you think makes your area ripe for investing in 2023? Why you made the list?
Well, for various reasons, we have amazing services, starting with downtown Laval. Chomedy is the downtown core of Laval, which is, by the way, where my office is. And we have attractions such as Centropolis. We've got beautiful shops, restaurants. And the advantage of living in Laval versus Montreal is that parking is so accessible and often without a charge. We have Carrefour Laval, which is the shopping mall, one of the largest shopping malls in Quebec. We've got the Bell Center, which houses the Rockets, the hockey team. We have the University of Montreal, the college, what we're finding is that we have a lot of people from Montreal that instead of going downtown to shop or are coming to Laval and the reason being that it's so much easier to park your car and it doesn't cost you anything.
That makes sense. I actually stopped and had one night in old Montreal on my way here to Quebec City, and it's just beautiful in that whole area, this whole area.
Yeah, it is. But Quebec City is beautiful, too. I was there in June of this year.
And, okay, I have to ask because prices in BC in my area completely different than out here. And what are the average prices or median prices in your area?
So the sales of single-family homes and condominiums have increased over the last 5 years by 75%. The median price range for a single-family home is $555,000, and for a condominium, $385,000.
Well, that's affordable. Hey, do you have a lot of like Airbnbs in the area? Do they allow that in the area? What's some other types of good investments?
Yeah, so Airbnbs will not be allowed in most of the condominium. But what we're finding is we're selling triplex, fourplex, fiveplex, where a single owner will buy and run an Airbnb. But in the condominium buildings, we're not allowed. And most of them it's something that is not permitted.
It was like that for a long time in Vancouver, too. There was a Vancouver City bylaw against it. So now it's up to the individual stratas to decide if they want to allow it or not. And I think there's only, last time I heard the tally, it was only like 11 stratas in all of Vancouver City that would allow it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Also, Michelle, I wanted to say, we have many attractions in Laval, such as natural parks, museums, golf courses, and we also have the Illumi, which is, it's a magical attraction by Cavalia. It is promoted in two places, one in Ontario, Mississauga, Ontario, and one in Laval, Quebec.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.
So,
Curtis, have you ever been there?
You know, I have actually not been to Quebec yet, and it's something that I really want to do. I've only been as east as Ontario.
Oh, and that area is our next guest. So with that, great segue. Catherine, thank you so much for coming on, and we really appreciate you sharing your insight with us and our listeners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And if anyone in the audience is looking to relocate to Laval, contact a member of the Papa Christou team.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
And our next guest is Nada Kovanich, and she is from Cornwall, Ontario, and that is the next one. Actually, I did not put in order of best places. These are just three of the top places. And yes, Cornwall, Ontario made it. And welcome, Nada.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. I want to ask you a question, Nada. My first one is the same one I gave Catherine. Tell us about your city.
So Cornwall is a pretty interesting location. We're an hour south of Ottawa. We're an hour from Montreal, and we actually sit on the American border. So we have a lot of different opportunities with our city. And we're on the St. Lawrence River, which is really nice. So we have beautiful views. It's a great area. And, you know, it's a small city, but if you want to access anything large, Costco or shopping, you're within 45 minutes to an hour to any of those large accommodations.
I love that river. It's so gorgeous.
So do I. I love it.
Okay, so what do you think makes your area one of the best places to invest for next year?
So myself, I've also invested. I have 20 units in Cornwall and one of them in Airbnb. I think the reason why investors are coming to Cornwall is because it's a low purchase price. So you can buy a unit between $125,000 a unit to $150,000 a unit, and the rent for that is a 2-bedroom. You can get $1,600 a month to as high as $1,800 a month for certain units. So your rate of return on these investments is so high. We're usually about an 8% cap rate on our investment properties.
Wow, that is so good. That is really good. Okay, I think we have to go on break, but I want to continue talking about that when we get back.
Okay, great.
All right, well, we can take a quick break here since you're giving me that not-so-subtle hint, Michelle, that it's time for a break. If people want more information about your listings and what you do as a realtor and all that fun stuff, where can they go?
MichelleCummins.ca.
We'll be back with more right after this. to segment number 2 of the Cummins Real Estate Group show. I'm Curtis Pope, and of course we have Michelle Cummins on location in Quebec. And of course, we were talking about Cornwall, Ontario before we went to break, Michelle. And I think that's a good comparable to Abbotsford because it's like an hour south of Ottawa, the big center there. And I know it's a border town, much like Abbotsford, so it's kind of a good comparable, I think.
Wish we had 8% cap rate in Abbotsford.
Ah.
That's why Abbotsford isn't in the top 3 in Canada.
I think we made the list, was it 2019, I believe, if I remember correctly?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so before the break, we were talking about the great cap rates and equity growth, right? You were saying you guys also have really good equity growth.
We do. In the last couple of years, we've been, of course, dealing with COVID, and we've had 30% year over year on our properties. But on average, we normally, in a normal time, we're about 5 to 7% of value increase on our properties as well. And our population is constantly growing. I think COVID, not that it was a good thing, but it was good for Cornwall because it got us recognized because it was such an affordable place to live and you could work remotely, still hop on a train, get into Toronto in under 4 hours.
That makes sense. What are your average prices for, let's say, detached and strata?
Right. So we're about $430,000 for a detached brick bungalow in the city of Cornwall.
I love that brick bungalow.
I know. And it's super affordable. It's a great family town. So we're able to have families come in that can afford the prices of our homes versus, you can even buy, I have to say it because we are a waterfront town, you can buy a home on the water for, not large, but for under $1 million. You can still get on the St. Lawrence River, which I think is super huge.
That is, oh my gosh, waterfront property. And so what about strata? What's your kind of average there? Condo or townhouse?
So condos, there isn't a ton of them in Cornwall. Okay. Even though we're a retirement city, there's not a ton of condos. We are still, again, around the $400,000 price point for them. Our townhouses, it's surprising, actually. Some of our townhouses are actually going for the same price as our single-family homes, and they're still around the $400,000 mark. I think just in a general sense, it's the $450 is where we keep sticking. We've even had some of our semi-detached homes sell for $500,000, but our average usually sticks between the $400,000 and $450,000.
So that's interesting. So your retirement community, what kind of amenities are there for that lifestyle?
I think it's just we have great bike paths, which is something we've actually been recognized for. We're one of the top cities in Ontario for bike paths, which I don't think it gets recognized enough. It's slow paced. You can get across the city within 10 minutes. So if you need to go from one end to the other, you're literally there without traffic in 10 minutes. Most of it's single lane because, again, no traffic. It's very calming when you're in the city of Cornwall. And we do have a lot of, we've got large super Walmart stores and everything like that. So you also have access to Costco, either in Ottawa or Vaudreuil, which is between an hour and 45 minutes away.
What are some of the other things that we should know that makes really it a great place to invest in, or what type of investments are the best investments?
I definitely think the duplexes, fourplexes are our best investments in the city of Cornwall. All of our income properties, the rate of return is so high on them, so it's definitely, and like I said, cap rates can be 8%, so I definitely think if you're going to invest in the city of Cornwall, that's how you want to be investing. We also do really well with our waterfront Airbnbs because you can buy them at an affordable rate, so your return on them, and I have one myself, your return on them is so good that it's just a great area to invest in, especially because you have families, half of them are in Ottawa, half of them are in Montreal. Cornwall's a central location.
This is a beautiful place to visit.
Vacation.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate you giving us insight for your area and for you as an investor and amazing salesperson yourself.
Thank you so much, guys. And if you're looking to shop in Cornwall, we're the Covenant Group with Remax Affiliates Marquee.
Sweet. Okay. Our next guest we have is also makes it in Ontario. We have Casey here. Casey, thank you. And Casey's with Windsor, out of Windsor.
I am. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that.
Okay. So a question I've been asking everyone, of course, is tell us about your city.
Okay, Windsor. We are a border town, and we also have a lot of waterfront front footage, I guess you could say. Like we are at the end of Ontario, the southernmost point, and so we have water literally all around our county. So when I say I work in Windsor, I work in Windsor, Essex County. So I literally work the whole bottom portion of Ontario. And we're a blue-collar city, so we have a lot of blue-collar jobs and a lot of different, it's kind of like a melting pot. Like we have so many different ethnicities that kind of immigrate to our area when they come to Canada.
Is there big immigration growth still happening and planned on happening?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that some of the ways, obviously, that you are on the map for one of the best places to invest in, but what other things do you think really brought your area?
Right now, I would say for 2023, we have a lot of job growth. So the manufacturing sector, with all these blue-collar jobs, we have the Stellantis, if I'm totally butchering that, the battery plant coming, we have a new hospital coming, we have a new border crossing that's being built right now, we have a new Amazon plant coming. So where you have jobs, you have people needing housing. So I think that's honestly probably where we fall on the map.
That makes absolute sense. Okay, and what are your average prices?
Yeah, so average price in last month was $523,000.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
So pretty affordable. It's down $200,000 from March, so we dropped a little bit. And that's where our investors come in because they're like, wow, your prices are really amazing right now. But like Nada was saying, the rental rates are still at a high, right? So then they're capitalizing on these lower prices.
That's why now is such a good time to be a buyer and investor. It is such a great time to buy.
Yeah, in one of the sessions that we are in today, was her last name. She was talking about
Tamara Stone?
Yeah. So she was talking about investing and getting buyers. Buyers are the key right now. And honestly, our investors have still been there. They're like, yes, now we want to get in because these bidding wars aren't happening, and I can get an amazing deal on a cash cow, essentially.
How quickly are listings selling there? Like within an average day?
It's probably about 3 weeks to a month for an average listing. So gone are the days where we have listings selling between hours and a week. It's depending if someone puts in a preemptive offer or not. But they're sitting a bit longer, and then it's just pricing strategy too. We're still kind of a mixed market where some agents are listing low to sell high, and some are listing at market value, expecting to maybe negotiate a little bit.
So do you see a lot of price reductions right now happening?
Or relist, or they just stay in the market a little longer because those sellers have the expectation of prices from a few months ago. So it just takes a little longer to get that listing sold.
What are the best type of investments in your area for people to think about?
Most definitely ones that have more than one unit, right? Near a university. So our city is a little bit different than others where our university district has a lot more of your lower income, higher rentals, not necessarily the most desired area of your city. But you can rent out the rooms, you can, there's different residential zoning. So you have 1.1 or 2.1 or 3.1. So you can make it into a residential dwelling with an additional dwelling unit in the basement, that sort of thing. So you really, your upstairs unit makes you pay your bills, and then you earn your investment back on the basement unit.
That's so great for first-time investors too, or first-time buyers, where they can live in it and then have some, pay down that mortgage, having somebody giving housing to people too.
Yeah,
it works but that's a great way of getting in the market.
But so many people don't have that mindset. They're like, I'm a first-time home buyer. I want a single-family home. I want my own home. And I'm like, look at it, you're young. Buy this home where you can literally live rent mortgage free. Have someone else pay your bills for a little while. Build up your equity in your home. sell it later and then buy your family home later. Like, it's just smart investing.
It is smart investing. I have a couple smart clients that have done that, and they've done really good for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, what else would you like to tell us about your area? I've never been there either.
No, so Windsor, I was born and raised there, so I'm partial to it. But it's if you want city living, you live right in Windsor. But if you want like a county feel, then you go to maybe Lakeshore or Essex or Amherstburg or Kingsville, and they all offer something different, whether it's like the location of it or the town itself and things they offer. So there's really something for everyone. And it's nice during, summer when there's festivals going on, you're like, okay, there's always something happening. Amherstburg, there's like your fireworks on July 1st or your open streets in Kingsville all throughout the summer. So they close down the street and all the restaurants set up on the street and they have live music and it's a great place to be. So anytime that you want something happening, just literally Google it, like, what can I do this weekend? And there it is.
How fun. Hey, yeah. Curtis, why don't you just bring your road show out to Windsor here?
Well, I haven't been to Windsor yet myself, but I've always wanted to go because I heard Steve Perry from Journey talking one time in an interview when he wrote Don't Stop Believin', and he threw that line in there about born and raised in South Detroit. There really isn't a South Detroit. It's called Windsor.
It is, yes, yes. We had a barn in South Detroit as well, and I mean, like we really, people don't think of us being as lower than Detroit, but we really are. Lots of like fun things to do in Detroit as well. So being a border city, literally, if barring that there's no traffic backup, you could be in Detroit in 5 minutes, and then have access to all their sports and venues and everything like that. We have our casino. We have entertainment there as well. So like definitely tons of things to do.
Why haven't I been there yet?
I don't know. You should come.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. This has been so fantastic.
Thanks for inviting me. Thank you.
So much fun. I don't want it to stop. Curtis, can we keep going?
Sure, why not?
Perfect. So we don't have Catherine here anymore, but Nada, do you have anything else you want to share with our listeners before we go about your area or any tips?
I definitely think the best thing that Cassie said was that as a young, and I did it myself, buy a property with income. It really is honestly the best investment you'll make. I lived in a property that was my first duplex. My husband and I, we lived on one side, rented out the other. And because Cornwall's so affordable, literally saved up enough money to buy our waterfront dream home because we did that. We lived there for years. And it really gave us a huge opportunity. And now because of that, we own so many rentals. So I think you start small, you live in your own unit, and you move forward that way.
That's good advice. And Casey, do you have anything else before we end our show?
Yeah, I totally forgot to plug my team. That's what my lovely other ladies did. If you are going to be moving to Windsor, Essex, or even Chatham, Kent counties, contact Team Lauren from Remax Care Realty, and we would love to help you through that journey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Curtis, I would normally have all my open houses and, a few of my new listings coming up, but I am going to leave it in the hands of our listeners to go to my website or my social media and have a look at all the open houses happening this weekend. And I have wonderful agents hosting them for me. And I got some amazing listings and a few new ones coming up. So have a look at my website and my socials. And thank you for listening.
Okay, so people want to go to that website. Let's just remind them that address again as we do every episode. But still, top of mind awareness, we'll tell them again. What's your website address?
MichelleCummins.ca.
And join us again next week when we will talk real estate in order to unlock your real estate potential on a show where real estate is maximized. Thanks for listening.